Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Wednesday, the 9th of February. It's game day as Rangers prepare to welcome Hibs to Ibrox this evening. I'm joined this morning by Joshua Barry. How are we doing, Joshua?
Good. I was just saying to you off air, I'm heating up from the Youth League game yesterday in Dumbarton, which, if you've not been to Dumbarton Stadium, it is very cold. Yeah. And I made the mistake of not layering up. So, yeah, looking forward to tonight. Won't make the same mistake when I'm heading to Ibrox this evening.
Yeah, I love how they call it the stadium when it's one stand. That always tickles me. Before we have a quick look back at that game, Joshua, just a bit of housekeeping, folks. If you're watching this on YouTube, I know that many of you are. Just hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video when we go live. And if you want to take advantage of the Rangers Review site, just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. It's only £2.99 a month to support top quality journalism covering the club you love. We've actually got a cracking offer on just now. If you head over to our Twitter account, where you can win a home Rangers shirt. One lucky winner selected at random on Friday at 4 p.m. Just head over to our Twitter account to find the details on that. Okay, Joshua, before we look ahead to tonight's game, you were at Dumbarton yesterday. The Rangers under-19s taking on Sevilla's counterparts. They lost by a 1-0 in the UEFA Youth League. What was your main takeaways from the game?
Well, the pitch wasn't great. I think that was probably everyone's main takeaway. And you could see that before the game, and it obviously cut up. I was lucky that the rain wasn't too bad in the game, because I honestly thought it could have risked being suspended because just how bad it was. But takeaways from the game, I think a few things. That the gap, a lot of people were saying, looked smaller than when Rangers played Atletico, a team of similar standard at this stage a couple of years ago. But there was still a gap there, and you know, Sevilla are a top team, one of the leading teams in the Spanish division this season. I thought Rangers started relatively well, and that's what David McCallum said to us after the game. But I didn't think, I don't know what everyone else watching thought, but I didn't think when Rangers had possession of the ball, whether that be from a goal kick or if Sevilla sat back, I don't think they really had enough of an idea of how they would hurt them. I thought at moments when Sevilla had pushed up in the first half down the right side, Rangers had some luck in the kind of 10-15 minutes. Alex Lowry, I'd say, looked, I think head and shoulders is probably fair in terms of his quality in that team. Came and played off the left, but few notable moments. The way he strikes the ball across the pitch, just kind of, there's a couple of switches of play that draw gasps. And he went close at the end to levelling the game after Sevilla had a man sent off, and they let's say they were I don't know how to put it diplomatically, but there was a lot of gamesmanship going on to try and see out that victory, which is always frustrating to see. And yeah, so I mean, it's a game that I think, you know, you're competing at a high technical level. The expectation probably wasn't that a win was, you know, the most likely outcome, but I thought they competed pretty well, and the Sevilla celebrated dramatically, and that probably told how tough a game they thought it was going to be coming over to the Dumbarton Stadium.
Yeah, you surprised a lot of folk, of course, slating the pitch, which is understandable. You surprised it wasn't perhaps played at Auchenhowie instead? Rangers, of course, got that stand there. The pitch is in cracking nick. Was there any reason given as to why that wasn't the case?
I think it couldn't be moved. I think the club did try to get it moved, but they couldn't. So I think, you know, it wasn't as if they didn't try, but it was down to UEFA, obviously, at the end of the day. And the pitch didn't help. In terms of in the middle of the pitch, it was really bobbly. Sevilla had their number 10, I think Carlos Alvarez, who everyone was making Maradona comparisons to.
How good was he?
Unbelievable.
Was he?
Really good, yeah, really good. Just rode challenges really well. I thought Rangers actually dealt with them pretty well, because he skipped out of challenges so quickly. Leon King really left on him with about 5 minutes to go, just by the stand. But he was impressive. The number 7, whose name escapes me, really impressive too. But again, to go back to the Atletico Madrid game, I wasn't at it, but I was speaking to people about it yesterday. And if you look at the kind of not going over, but the gap was really evident then. I thought Patterson on that day was up against, I think his name was Riquelme, and really struggled. I didn't think it looked like a huge gap between the teams yesterday. I think the notable difference was when Rangers had the ball at the back, probably wasn't quite enough confidence to go and play through Sevilla. And interestingly, what interested me as well, Derek, is obviously the B team mirrored the A team, and I spoke to McCallum about this at the press conference the day before the game in terms of how you tactically and in terms of player instruction changing what is being done in the B team to mirror the A team. And there was a bit of both. There was the kind of inverted wingers staying high and not tracking the fullbacks, which worked quite well, kept the pitch compact. But equally at points, you could see that the two number 8s not coming into Rangers' own half to try and get the ball into the other half. And I think at sometimes that was detrimental to how Rangers were trying to play, as it has been at first team level. So interesting to see those little shoots of similarity between the A team and the B team.
Yeah, okie dokie. It was a disappointing day for the Rangers youth, but plenty to learn from, I'd imagine, from that game. Let's move on to tonight's game, Joshua. The big talking point yesterday from the press conference is that Ryan Jack is out of the game. A lot of anger based on, well, Ryan Jack himself posted a cheeky dig towards Willie Collum for not even giving a foul when Benny Beningame took him out just on the edge of the penalty area on Sunday. It still beggars belief why that wasn't even given as a free kick. I can't get my head around that. But he's out of the game tonight. Hopefully it's not too serious. Giovanni van Bronckhorst said it may just be one game. What's your feelings on Ryan Jack being out of the game just when he was sort of building up a head of steam?
Can't believe it, and it's just bad, just unbelievably bad luck. Ryan Jack, I thought, gave the entire place a lift on Sunday. I think it was about a year since his last start, which is crazy to think. But a real blow for Jack, real blow for the team. You just have to hope that it's not long, because that would be such a huge blow to him. I guess the positive is how maybe looked a yard slower, but on Sunday. But I thought he looked pretty good for coming right back into the action. He gives you that reliability. He gave you a really good platform to go and play from. And as you say, challenges happen, good challenges, bad challenges. It's frustrating, I think, when a player is injured and there's nothing given about it on the pitch. So you just got to hope that the club are taking as much preventative action as possible, as I'm sure they will be. And playing against Annan probably isn't a necessity. So then getting back for the trip to Dortmund a week tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. I don't think he'll be rest for the weekend, especially on that plastic pitch as well. Rangers should have enough about them to negotiate that Scottish Cup tie, but it'll certainly be a miss this evening. There's no doubt about it. Just based on those refereeing calls, Van Bronckhorst was asked about that yesterday. Of course, Balogun and Bassey, similar tackles on them. Balogun, of course, received a yellow card in bizarre circumstances when he won the ball. He says a booking is a booking, although you have the idea you play the ball. In the situations mentioned, both Leon and Calvin thought they got the ball first, but a yellow card is a yellow card. If you keep accumulating yellow cards, it'll definitely be a suspension. So I can understand the thinking of my players. He also said it's quite easy to watch the tackles afterwards and say, okay, they're not fouls, but the ref doesn't have a replay. He doesn't have VAR. So it's difficult moments for him as well, but you just have to move on and prepare for the next match. It was a rather bizarre display from Willie Collum on Sunday. Although, in terms of the booking to Balogun, I seen one last night, Joshua, from ex-Rangers left-back Declan John, that defies belief. And I've posted on my personal Twitter account, folks. It is amazing how he gets booked for this. The ball comes in, and he's booked for kicking the ball away, but it doesn't do anything. But it really is bonkers. Another questionable decision down south. Anyway, looking ahead to this game this evening, I asked Van Bronckhorst about Aaron Ramsey, Joshua. He's not fit enough to start yet. Is that a slight concern for you, or is it just game management trying to build him up? Of course, he played 17 minutes on Sunday. I'd imagine he may get more time this evening, depending on how the game is going. What's your feelings on that?
Yeah, I mean, The 15-20 minutes wasn't going to go to 90 minutes, was it? And within a few days, as much as I think everyone was optimistic about it. And I think it's probably the reality of bringing in a player who's not played that much this season. The positives are he's of really high quality and should make a big impact. It's early February as well, and it's not too long before. Well, there's only a few more months of the season, isn't there? The season doesn't go on forever. I'd imagine you get 45 minutes tonight. Can you see him starting against Annan? Maybe, I don't know. A Dortmund. So you don't want to rush him back, rush him into action, and then risk an injury. But yeah, certainly I didn't think it was going to go from 15 to 20 to a full 90. The midfield tonight, then you're probably looking at Arfield, Aribo, Kamara, and Lundstrom maybe. Depends if they want to keep Arfield out on the right. I'd imagine they'll want to bring Ahmad in. I know he didn't have a good first half against Celtic, but let's not forget his debut where he, changed the game in many respects, scored a goal, kind of set up another for Tavernier for the second, and I think was the victim of, the whole team's poor performance at Celtic Park as well. So yeah, I could see Arfield coming back into the centre. I thought Arfield and Morelos, we know their link-up play is really good, but that was a refresher of just how good it can be against Hearts on Sunday. And while I'm on the topic of Morelos, Derek, he played 35 passes outside the opposition box, dropping deep a lot, but there seems to be quite a few differences in the way he's dropping deep, and we got an article about it on the site this morning in terms of, he's not making those raking switches of play as much, but if you look at, for example, Fashion Sakala's 5th goal of the game, Morelos takes a defender out the back line, that leaves an exploitable gap. Arfield did it with Stephen Kingsley for his own goal. And Morelos, I think it was the first goal as well, one of the examples I've used, where he comes out to try and create an overload in the midfield, spins behind, and then is able to attack the box. He does it so well and attacks the box with, I think, a lot more vigour than he was in the earlier parts of the season. He's also making, I think, 3 more touches on average in the opposition penalty box. So great to see such improvement from him across the boards, but I just thought it was important to note that, him playing outside the box was never a bad thing. Especially when you're trying to create lots of gaps, unsettle the defence, have runners go beyond. It was that was superseding his involvement inside the area. And I think you've got to give Van Bronckhorst a lot of credit for the way he's so quickly got Morelos back to his best, because that's 8 goals in 10. And that probably, I think, was his best performance for me since Antwerp at home.
Yeah. But we've seen the impact he has on this team, Joshua, on Sunday. Rangers badly missed him, of course. He's vital, isn't he? I mean, no disrespect to Kemar Roofe and Cedric Itten, but Alfredo Morelos, when he does eventually leave Ibrox, it's a gaping hole to fill, isn't it?
In my mind, he'll never leave, Derek. So, I don't know. I know what you mean, but he seems very happy at Ibrox at the moment as well, doesn't he? He really does. So, he's probably a player that, while he's there, you can't replace him. I remember the first game of the season, the first friendly of the season, which was Real Madrid, and Fashion Sakala played through the middle, and he played superb. I don't know if you remember. It was the same time when I don't think Morelos was back in the country yet, and you were thinking, new season, is this someone who's going to come in and take his place? And Morelos just does it with such consistency. And Sakala, while we're mentioning him as well, it was good to see him come off the bench as we mentioned, and get a goal and copy Morelos' celebration. But he's certainly maybe he's not going to get a run of games this season because of the area he wants to play in of the pitch, but certainly makes an impact when he comes on. I think with Morelos, if you can get him, it looks like he's kind of recapturing that half season he had in 2019 in terms of how motivated he looks. He should have had a hat-trick on Sunday to take that final chance when he goes through 1-on-1. But the second finish as well is just of such quality, Derek, for me. But it's instinctive. When he has time, he's not as good a finisher. When it's instinctive, he does it so much better. And his movement as well for the first goal, if you watch him with Sibic, because he comes out of the penalty box, and you've seen for his second goal, Sibic doesn't even go with him as he goes to receive the ball from Ryan Jack from a throw-in, because he's been kind of pulled all over the pitch all afternoon. But for the first goal, he wrestles with Sibic and uses that as an opportunity to slide in behind. And when you see him score eventually, he's in 3-4 yards of space that Kent can hit. So a fantastic performance all around. And as you say, you really, really notice the difference when he's not there.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, he was asked, Van Bronckhorst, yesterday about Morelos' contract situation. He is out of contract a year on from this coming summer of 2023. He says I didn't have a chat with him about his long-term future, but he's a player who is definitely important to us. He's enjoying his football at the moment. If your player is out of contract after next season, then talks will happen sometime this year to see how the future is for both sides. I'm happy with him and the performances he's putting on the pitch. I'm more than happy with him, and then talks will begin. So yeah, it's certainly something that will be on the minds of Ross Wilson and the coaching staff and those who divvy up the contracts, Joshua, to make sure it's not another Connor Goldson situation. Because they won't want Alfredo Morelos moving out the door for nothing. He has been linked, I think, ever since he came to Ibrox. Remember that the first transfer window where he was reported to be linked with a move over to China, which never materialised. But I think that interview he gave with Sky recently suggests that he is actually settled here. Of course, his family's here, and it looks like he's loving playing football here. And I know that John Dooley mentioned that his comment, I think, he enjoys being the biggest star in the team and the fans' adulation. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he absolutely does. On the contracts, you have Aribo out next summer, Kent out of contract next summer, Morelos. So this summer, I think, is going to be a big season for the board, Ross Wilson. And this is a longer discussion, but the team needs a new cycle. You look at that core of that team, you look at the lack of starters brought in the last few windows. And I know everything was kind of gambled, I think, on Champions League qualification this year, which would have given the necessary money to kind of refresh key areas. But the teams, as we're seeing all over, you've seen it with Leicester at the moment. Teams have a life cycle, and I think it will be. Yeah. They'll have to do it cleverly and make sure it's not an exodus, but how they kind of refresh the starters over the next few windows, because this window, Ahmad and Ramsey, if they come off, will be fantastic signings, and everyone was excited when both of those signings were announced. I think of a Rangers persuasion, but they're not. That's not long-term signings, so that'll be a real point of interest over the whole summer.
Yeah, you mentioned that you think Ahmad might come back into the side this evening. Any other changes you reckon? For me, our predicted lineups are on the website, folks. Myself and Johnny McFarlane have rustled up our starting 11s. The only change I make to my team is Kamara in for Ryan Jack. But you've got Ahmad in there.
I've not written mine down, so I could name 12 or 13 players back. I think Ahmad, just going off the kind of common sense view that Ahmad has obviously come into play, and I imagine the plan will be to get him as many minutes as possible, and I think you'll obviously the game plan on Saturday was to try and play vertically, and Arfield span inside, and it worked really well. And if you look at the pass networks, it was really balanced, and Kent got a lot of joy by sticking wide. But again, just to go back to his debut, football moves so quickly, and you can forget a game that happened, or 10 days ago, or however long ago it was. But he was excellent on that day, I thought. And Hibs, I can imagine, will try and be brave on the ball. They're going through a bit of a sticky patch. I think Maloney's under a bit of early pressure to get some results, and I completely expect that Rangers, in the same way they were aggressive high up the pitch, will do the same against Hearts. They'll do the same against Hibs, and try and exploit the space they leave quickly. And yeah, for me, maybe Ahmad's come in, and maybe you'll just see Arfield replace Jack in that area. I think if you play Lundstram and Kamara together, I don't think that's a great mix, because I don't think either of those players really give you what Jack does in terms of the balance. I think it worked because Jack was really going high, really going beyond the ball, running beyond. For Morelos, the second ball, Jack's trying to break the lines. And often what he did well was he'd play the ball, and you've seen this as well for the chance he put into Craig Coden's arms. He curled around the side. He plays the ball, and then he goes beyond the midfield, and it's just simple things, but I think simple things that haven't been done that well this season, that Jack gives you in bucket loads. So I think Kamara would probably what if Kamara and Lundstram both play? I don't know if that balance looks as good as it did at the weekend. So Arfield in for me, and then would like to see Ahmad out in the right wing.
Yeah, It'll be interesting to see what lineup Giovanni Van Bronckhorst puts out, but there'll be excitement as the supporters head over to Ibrox this evening after Sunday's demolition of Hearts. They'll be looking to do the Edinburgh double, of course. Celtic also in action this evening. They're up at Pittodrie, so it could be an interesting evening. But stay tuned to the Rangers review, folks, for all the latest from the game, and we'll have a full rundown tomorrow morning on tomorrow's daily briefing. Josh will be at the game tonight for us. Okay, that'll do us there. Thanks to everyone for interacting with the programme as ever. It really is much appreciated. If you're watching us on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss a video when you go live. Also, if you want to take advantage of the Rangers Review site, just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. Only £2.99 a month to support top quality journalism covering the club you love. And remember, we've got that fantastic competition on just now. If you just head over to our Twitter account where you can win Rangers first team jersey. One lucky winner selected at random on Friday at 4 p.m. So do go check it out. Okay, we'll be back again tomorrow. But until then, enjoy the game and the rest of your Wednesday.